You're muted, Mark.
What a way to start off the
What a
show.
way to start. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Smacktalk Wrestling Podcast, episode number 13. I'm here as always with my co-host Angel, aka AOK Gaming, and my boy Gonzo. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Mics are on.
I agree. Mics are
Calm down.
working. We can hear each other,
down.
so I'm good to roll.
Calm down. Shit happens. It's about time. Relax. Technical difficulties, people. It happens. All right. We all can't be the goats around here. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for watching. I know a lot of you guys are watching the AEW atrocity that I'm hearing that's going on Twitter right now. I'm hearing it's getting a lot of bad reviews. Jericho's now the FTW champion. So we'll see what happens with that. But if you guys are watching us, remember a little bit about us. This is a WWE podcast where we talk about this past week in the WWE. You guys can watch us live every Saturday, yesterday, Sunday, but every Saturday going forward, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And of course, if you don't watch the live stream, you could come listen to us on Spotify. So let's just get right into it, guys. Now that we know what's going on and everyone could hear me, Raw and SmackDown got new tag team championships. Both brands got them brand new. So Raw for the Awesome Truth will now be called the World Tag Team Champions, and SmackDown for Aton Down Under, Angel's favorite tag team, they will be called the WWE Tag Team Champions. Here's a look of the new title belts if you guys haven't seen it. Guys, what are your thoughts on these new belts for Raw and SmackDown?
Go ahead, Guns.
It's been long overdue as far as needing some new championship belts. I know a lot of comments have been said that both the previous tag team championships literally looked like pennies with some very colorful straps on them. And you know what? I will say that the continuity is there for these titles. And so they look very similar to Seth Rollins' title, right? You know, a lot of gold, some black in there, and of course the world at the center. There's some slight differences, which I do like. And you do see the consistencies with the United States title and then also the Intercontinental title as well. The only belt that stands out and that is completely different is the main championship title now, which calls into question if that now is going to get changed, if they're changing all these other titles.
Which championships title?
Cody's.
They just gave Roman. It turned to gold. They already just changed it. I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I feel like they just changed it, so to change it again, I mean, it would be kind of weird.
Yeah, it's when they unified Roman's titles is when they.
Yeah, they gave Roman that new because now it's like completely gold background. If you remember, Gonzo. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be. I mean, I mean, if everyone's getting new championships, I'm all for the Intercontinental Championship need to be changed immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Angel, what do you think about these belts, man? Let's take a look at them again.
Yeah, I really liked the was it the WWE tag team titles, the ones on the left there in your picture?
So the ones on the left are the WWE Tag Team Championships.
Yeah,
the one on the right are the World. Yeah, the ones on the left picture kind of reminds me of like the 2000s belts a little bit.
Right, it's back from our generation a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of like that a lot.
But I like that they're both different still, because they are two different, they're going to be on two different shows. It's pretty much the Raw and SmackDown still, I'm sure. We got the draft coming up. We'll talk about that.
Right.
But I still like that they're different. And I just like the throwback vibes for them. It's cool. That's more what we're into. The titles before, like Gonzo said, they weren't people. I don't think we're really in love with them, other than being easily represented by Raw and SmackDown by their color. But
right,
I think these are cooler. These feel more like championships. The ones before just kind of felt like placeholders. Didn't really feel like a championship belt. So I kind of like these a lot more, especially the WWE ones.
I do like both of them personally. I like the WWE Tag Team Champions a lot better. I feel like every title on Raw kind of looks similar, when it comes to, who won the championship right now. Damian Priest's championship, and then whoever's going to be the new women's champion over there. All those titles kind of look very similar. I mean, if we look at the picture, like I said, it just has that slight red that's in it, which cool, but pretty much very similar. But I don't hate it because it is a step up from what we just got. But I definitely prefer the WWE Tag Team Championships right now. As far as that segment, when it was on Raw and the Triple H introduced it, R-Truth continues his antics. I know Gonzo freaking loves that. And then SmackDown, Angel's boys absolutely disrespected Triple H, another hysterical moment. Angel absolutely loves A-Town Down, biggest fans, hands down.
I mean, I don't mind them, but I mean, they shouldn't have done that to Triple H. That wasn't even. I don't get the whole hating on Triple H thing. Like,
it's cheap heel heat. Cheap heel heat, man. That's what they got.
I'd rather them do it to Aldis. Like, do it to Aldis. That makes more sense. Like, really, Paul? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
we're calling him Paul now.
That's right. I mean, just like they do on the show.
Hunter.
Paul and Triple H Levesque.
Okay. Belts are fantastic. They kind of look like the old NXT UK belts, but definitely sick. Yeah, I definitely like them a lot. So on Raw, we had a triple threat number one contenders match: DIY versus New Day versus the Creed brothers. During this match, I don't know if you guys noticed what I did. The triple threat rules in a tag team match have changed. So before, they only had 2 people at a time in when there was like a triple threat or a fatal 4-way tag team match, but only 2 competitors at a time where you could tag any team, whether it's your teammate or not, blind tags, whatever. But on Raw, they actually had triple threat rules with their triple threat tag teams where all 3 members were representing their teams in at once. So I thought that was really cool. And they could only tag in their teammates as opposed to somebody else. And DIY won the number one contenders for the Raw or whatever they're called right now. What are they called? World Tag Team Championships on Raw. It's good. Yeah. So you guys like DIY number one contenders?
Regeneration X?
Regeneration X.
Yeah.
You're going to have some comedic gold there.
Yeah, there's some story there. Both teams were working together for a while there for a little bit and stuff. Mm-hmm. So there's some history there. I don't mind it. I'm cool with it. I like DIY. I think they're a cool tag team. I'm liking this tag team stuff now. It's more interesting. It's not great yet, but it's getting better. That's for sure.
It's getting better in WWE 100%. They're definitely building towards a better future within those teams. So on the SmackDown side for the WWE Tag Team Championships, I want to know if you guys noticed this. So on SmackDown, they had a fatal 4-way number one contender match between the Street Profits, New Catch Republic, Legado del Fantasma, and AOP. This time, they went back to the old rules and only 2 competitors in there at a time, and anybody could tag in. What are your thoughts on that? Like, Angel, what do you think? Did you like the Raw or did you like the SmackDown one better? And as far as rule changes,
I don't know. To be honest, I still can't tell. I liked the SmackDown match more. It seemed like those guys were coordinated a little bit better. There was a lot of cool spots. There was a couple times where I thought the Fantasma was gonna win. Like, that was a long match too. It was, I don't know, the SmackDown one just seemed like a way better match. That's the one that I keep remembering way more of. So it was
it was a better match in my opinion. I just hated the way that we went back to those like rules of only 2 competitors in there.
I mean, but did it really matter? Because they were in there all together a lot, and there was a lot of action going on outside the ring. They were doing combo moves with each other, where there was 2 teams helping 2 teams, beating the hell out of AOP. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't seem like the rules really came to matter too much because there's just so many guys. I think they make those rules so that they could just, so that it's just easier to find a winner at the end, kind of deal. Because then there's only 2 people supposed to be in the ring. But I don't know. I didn't really think the rules were that much of an impact, to be honest, in either match. But I get what you're saying. They were different rules. I did pay attention to that. But that was my thoughts on it.
Gonzo, how do you feel?
It could be the case, again, that it's the fatal 4-way type of dynamic, right? More bodies have to pay attention, gets chaotic, just like Angel was just alluding to. And so maybe it's just exclusive only to triple threat. And then there's the exclusiveness to the fatal 4-way. But we'll see if when they do have those matches moving forward, if they remain consistent or if that was maybe just a blunder that they had in that very moment.
Okay. Hopefully it wasn't a blunder. Maybe you guys hit it on the nose with the rules. I personally don't like it. I'd rather just have everyone representing their team in at a time. I mean, you could do fatal 4-way rules like you do in a regular fatal 4-way tag team. I mean, but that's just on me. But the Street Profits won that match. Angel, are you happy with that? Those are your boys.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Again, that was my favorite match between the two. I thought Phantasma was gonna win it like twice. They had like two different spots. But yeah, I was happy with Street Profits winning. I'm surprised, but pleasantly surprised. I think they're a good tag team. You saw Triple H was doing the stir
Yep.
when they
Yeah,
came
the
out.
start.
That was
Mhm.
kind of like a hint that they were gonna win. I guess we probably should have paid attention to that,
Right.
the stir fry. But no, I'm happy for it. I don't think they're gonna win. Um, the A Town Down Under, right? That's who they're gonna go
Yeah,
against.
I don't think they're gonna
Yeah,
win either.
I don't think they're gonna win, unfortunately, but it's cool to see them get a little push there. Hopefully, they get some more fire behind them, with this little run. So I'm cool with it.
Gonzo.
I kind of figured that the Street Profits were going to come in and steal that. It just makes sense. I mean, because you have a face, and then you also have, what is it, New Czech Republic, right? Is what they refer to themselves as again. I mean, that's
New
another
Catch
face.
Republic.
New
Catch.
Catch Republic.
New Catch Republic, Legado de Fantasma, AOP.
And then, right, you got, it's evenly balanced because you had 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 with face heel, face heel, face heel. And so AOP's on TNA, or TNA, it's on NXT. And ultimately, with that, I knew they weren't going to be big players because they usually start off really hot and then all of a sudden they just get tapped and then they just die for like 20 minutes and you never see them again. And so the match did a really good job with portraying them as these big monsters where everyone else was trying to get them out of the way to break them down. So the ring psychology worked for me. And then as far as Legado del Fantasma, I like them a lot. And so to have them go against the heel faction right off the bat, I knew they were going to be eliminated from that whole thing. And so it literally came down to which one of the face tag teams are going to then go and get their shot, at least for right now. There's a lot of course, history with the Almighty and his Street Profits versus, A Town Down Under. And so I guess I looked at it like, what could you really get more screen time with more some cheap heat laughs and the Almighty with the Street Profits versus, again, A Town Down Under. So I think that was the safe route to go, to be truthful, at least if you wanted to have face versus heel right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great match. I mean, they had a lot of good spots. That spot that Gonzo and I actually watched it together. That spot where they jumped off the turnbuckles in that corner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Montez Ford literally hurdled everyone, even the turnbuckle into the corner. I thought that was pretty sick.
It's a shame that they didn't catch that from a different angle for the initial viewer to see, because we only seen the replay where you've seen all three of them go,
Right.
which was really cool.
Right. So the way I saw it on this match, there was only two possible winners that needed the win. It was either the Street Profits or Legado. So I'm glad just one of those two teams won. I feel like New Catch Republic has already been there. AOP is kind of tied up in NXT, in that tag team division right now. So those two teams made the most sense to win. And honestly, they both needed the win. So I'm glad just one of them did. So we'll see what happens. The Profits are definitely not going to be A Town Down Under, but the fact that they're back into a high-profile match where they've kind of just been set aside for a very long time, pretty much since the Usos took over the championships, they've been set aside. So, I mean, just to get them back into that forefront, I think that's good for them. So we'll see what happens. Lastly, before we in this tag team division, so what do you guys think about the tag team divisions going forward? We have the draft coming up this week, or starting Friday is the day one of the draft for SmackDown. So my whole thing was, I don't want to harp too much on the WWE draft just because everyone knows how much I not really like it. So now that we're back to two tag team divisions, my main concern is difficulty booking two tag team divisions because you already have a thin tag team roster to begin with, and now you have to book two tag team rosters. So, but what do you guys think of the state of the tag team divisions going forward right now? Angel.
Having two tag team divisions, yeah, me and you are similar with this. I'm not a big fan of the splits. I don't think we have much of a choice.
Oh,
when
yeah,
you
of
have
course.
when you have a draft and when you have two championships, two women's championships, so on and so forth, it doesn't make sense to have just one tag team title. It kind of goes against what they've already been doing. And yeah, it kind of thins it out a little bit. It gives opportunity for teams to be at the forefront. like A-Town Down Under, would they really be champs right now? I don't know. Like, I think it helps them a lot, and teams like that. Um, but they're improving the division a lot. I think there's some good teams getting together. There's still ways to go though. There's still a lot more continuity we need to see. Some teams that are actually factions and such, besides like the Judgment Day and stuff like that, like the guys that have been there for a minute. But as this new age of this Triple H era, as we're calling it now, they need to find their footing. Both of these divisions, or this division, whatever you want to call it. And once they get some more, spots, we'll see some more matches, maybe in some PLEs. Maybe it will get those old school vibes of like great tag team events, great tag team spots. We'll see though. These guys have to really put it together though. Hopefully we get more teams that are, in unison though, is what I'm looking for.
Okay. Gonzo, do you have anything you want to add?
Because what was the initial question you asked again?
The state of the state of the tag team divisions. How do you guys feel going forward, and the booking of now 2 tag team divisions once again with the draft coming next week?
Well, you educated me actually this past weekend, and I didn't realize that technically you can take an entire faction with you.
You could take
SmackDown or to Raw,
and you could split up a team. It's happened a lot during history, So what do you think on how that's going to happen? How is that going to?
Well, that was helpful for me just because I totally didn't even consider that. And I'm sitting here wondering, how they're going to do that, how they're going to potentially spin things in such a way. And I think they're going to have some fun with this, because if they can do it in such a way where they can have, me and you were talking about this, a certain title be able to float to a different promotion, but to have, let's just say, the Judgment Day permanently stay on one brand, but the champion of course can float and defend, and that could be an easy way for other fans to see certain individuals. Like if you're going to SmackDown, you get to see that champion regardless, no matter what, right? You just don't have to go to a Raw showing in order to see them.
That's the better way to do it.
I'm not sure if that's what they're going to do, but that does bring up a wonderful idea. Because again, if you're wanting to pay certain money to see certain things, that would be really cool if they were to execute it that way. So that's kind of where my mind just goes with how they can do this and what they could do this. I feel like there is definitely a variety of different teams and different individuals that are working together. And it's not just, oh, you're a person that comes out with your theme music, and then there's another person that comes out with your theme music. And everything is so very much in their own, I guess you could say, silo when they're doing this. And that's been with WWE for way too long. And with whatever this current version of WWE that we're going to call this, the Levesque era, the Rebirth era, I don't know. At some point in a few years, we're going to get a name for it. But so far, so good.
So, all right. Does anybody get split? I know we're talking about building these tag team divisions. Does anybody get drafted as a solo and ruin their tag team or faction?
Judgment Day might be the only one, but I think it's too early.
Okay.
Well, you're already seeing a new bloodline getting formed, so you're going to see some
I'm talking about
things.
via draft, though. I'm talking about ripping someone from the draft. Does a team get split up or a faction get split up? Because if you're going to take the Judgment Day, then you take the Judgment Day as a whole. But if, say, hey, I'm drafting Rhea Ripley, then all of a sudden she's just got ripped away from that faction.
It'd be pretty cool, though, if like one GM took solo and one GM took NFT. That'd be pretty.
NFT? MFT?
Yeah, MFT. Excuse me. Sorry. MFT.
Tamatanga? Yeah. All right. So speaking of tag teams, we're getting off of it. Trust me. But Uncle Howdy, these glitches that we've been seeing, all right? There's a little glitch for you right there. Uncle Howdy, both of his glitches this week came during the tag team segments. I don't know if you guys noticed that or put that together. So the first one came on Raw during the New Day's entrance, and the other one came on SmackDown during Triple H's entrance when he was bringing in new tag team titles. So Gonzo, do you want to take us through these glitches?
Yeah, the short version to it, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but very similar to those that if you were paying attention when Bray Wyatt made his return, the WWE had done the exact same thing where they had subtle glitches, they had QR codes, and ultimately, if you were to follow the QR code or type in whatever it is that they presented to you, it then would send you to like a certain location, or to bring it to like a video, or to bring it to like a certain website. And you actually then had to do some additional work in order to get some additional clues that they were given to you. The same thing now is happening with what we believe, of course, could be Uncle Howdy, or it could be, again, the new version of the youngest Rotunda. And so the one that was on SmackDown is actually pretty interesting. I did some digging, we all did. And for those that didn't catch it, essentially the QR code comes up and it redirects you to a 30-second video, essentially. And you're seeing some pretty interesting things in there. You're getting a longitudinal location specifically. And basically, what this code, when we break it down, it's giving you some specific references to an old philosopher, those who are familiar with Plato. And there's a history about a specific point that Plato is trying to make on the reality of how people will see their world. And so this now ties directly into that story, and it gets pretty deep with what's going on, and it's pretty intriguing. And so ultimately, the story, or the story as they're trying to create here with this imagery, if a person is gone into a cave and they sit there and there's no light, and ultimately they create a fire, the images that are cast from the light are ultimately what that person believes that their world is. And as you continue to kind of talk about this, it's just one of those things where a person has to be exposed to something else in order to better understand what their world is, and how they then can understand this new world that they come into it. But they have to be exposed to a different place and a different person for that to happen. Very similar, of course, to Bray Wyatt, as he's always talked about his fireflies and where the fireflies can then be led and how he can then direct them. So again, all signs are pointing to the potential return of an Uncle Howdy, and or a new character that's going to be unveiled, but that is directly tied to, of course, the Bray Wyatt lore as we continue to watch and see this unfold.
Right, Angel, what are your thoughts on everything?
Muted, my good sir.
Sorry. Yeah, it's very cool. I'm excited to see how else it goes. I'm glad that they're taking their time with it. And that we'll get probably more clues, and we'll see them, it's gonna be exciting once they actually show up at an arena, or maybe cause some more chaos in ring versus just messing with the programming.
So
I want to see what else they can do.
how long does this drag out as far as like the codes and everything? Because you remember with Bray Wyatt, like we had the White Rabbit for like months.
Yeah,
So
I could see it happening until a PLE. Maybe they'll do some more exposure. I don't know about Backlash. I'm thinking after Backlash, maybe even. So we'll
so
probably,
definitely not draft time then, right? We're not getting an Uncle Howdy
nah.
after someone coming in or anything like
I mean,
that.
it'd be cool. It'd be cool if they like messed with the
No,
drafts of some
no
sort.
return of my girl Alexa Bliss yet.
Right. Yeah. No. It's exciting to see if it's Uncle Howdy, Alexa. Um, but yeah, I think that's gonna be a little bit. Most of the time when they do these reveals or these waits, they like to build it up, and they might pull it sooner than later though, with everyone getting hurt and people being just not coming back for a while, you
Right.
know. So who knows? They can rush it a little bit if they feel like the roster needs it. The little shot in the arm.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens though.
So Gonzo, I know we were talking about this earlier. Maybe you want to bring a little bit of mention. So Matt Hardy, or I'm sorry, Broken Matt Hardy, appeared on TNA. Yes, I know this is a WWE show. And Gonzo and I thought that he had signed with TNA, but apparently Gonzo saw something where he's not signed. He's just doing some free agent type bookings. So do you think Matt Hardy is still part
The
in
broken,
for the Wyatt Six?
the Wyatt Six, the Broken Society, the Deleted Universe. I mean, who knows what they're going to call this? Could be. Why not? I know we had seen that over this weekend, but then I had stumbled across again some of the information online from a very reputable source, and ultimately it's been identified that no, he hasn't signed and committed himself 100% to TNA, and that, Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where the broken gimmick was created, was it not?
Yeah, him and then Willow for Jeff Hardy.
That's right, because I know Jeff Hardy is still under contract with AEW at this point, I believe. I don't know how much longer is left on that contract, but it is really cool to see that the broken Matt Hardy has reemerged and is starting to do some things. And I did watch a recent podcast that had Matt Hardy, and he was talking how he actually prefers the broken gimmick now in comparison to just him being Matt Hardy. And the reasoning that he gave, I really do like it. As he has begun to age, naturally he's starting to slow down, and that's what he alluded to as he was just breaking down the character of the deleted one. It's more of, again, the entertainment and not having to do so much of the team extreme that, of course, he's been made famous for. So we're going to potentially see a lot of storytelling wherever it is that he decides to give most of his time to.
Okay. Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes rivalry. Steel cage match this past week. I mean, we thought this was over. Trick Williams has gone over on him twice in a row already. What do you guys think about this? What's going on? What do you guys think of the match overall in that cage match, the main event for NXT this past week?
It's better than the main event that Stand and Deliver.
100%.
No hesitation whatsoever on that.
Yeah. 1,000,000,000%. I mean, I felt like this cage match should have been at Stand and Deliver. If we have, I feel like part of the issue, something we're talking about, is that despite the popularity that Trick Williams has, he's still green in the ring, and it's slowly being exposed. And maybe even the crowd, like David said earlier, getting to him, maybe he's still not ready to be the guy. And doing these smaller crowds at NXT could be part of it. I mean, I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think this match was even booked because they saw Stand and Deliver's match was not it, and I think WWE or NXT, I should say, was a little shook by that match and was like, "Yo, you guys got to go back out there and show that you can make a good main event." Because that was the whole point of Stand and Deliver, you guys main eventing, and you guys did not, provide what was expected. And I think because it was kind of weird for them to fight again, but I think this was just just to replace that match from Stand and Deliver. That's why Trick won again. That's 2 losses in a row for Carmelo to him back to back. But I think that's what it was for. And they made it a cage match and it was better, but yeah, I think that was the whole point of the match in general.
So do you think it's finally over now? Like, this
I
is
hope it is.
a
I
blow off?
don't know. You guys want to keep seeing this? I don't know. It's been cool, but I mean, how much more can you do with this?
There's really not much else. I mean, unless you're going to stick them in a Hell in a Cell. I mean, a cage match is pretty close.
I mean, this is getting to Kurt Angle and Benoit levels of fighting every week. Like,
Can't say his name.
Well, we're saying it. Sorry.
Gonzo, do you have anything else you want to add on Trick and Mello?
No, not necessarily. Ultimately, the cage match was great. I definitely enjoyed it. I will firmly stand behind the reality that it was a smaller crowd, allowing him to just be a little bit more in his element. And Angle and who I like that. And so he has been stricken from the record. So I was very pleased with it. Maybe it was a little bit of a big moment back at Stand and Deliver. You know what? It happened. We're going to move forward. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to get back in the groove. We're going to hit the ground running with doing some things. Now, as far as Carmelo Hayes possibly going to the main roster, I think this could be the opportunity, right? Because he's dropped 2 consecutively now to Trick, with the possibility of that now coming to a close. And to advance the story with Mello, I want to see something different then. I don't necessarily think that these two have to continue the storyline because there are other stories that they can tell now.
Yeah, I think so too. And that was my next question. I'm like, is one of them, if not both, getting drafted this week? So, I mean, I think David pretty much answered it. I mean, Angel, do you think one of them, if not both of them, gets drafted this week?
Trick is definitely gonna get drafted. I don't see why you wouldn't draft both though. Like at least try it. I mean, what's
You
the
think,
worst that happens? You demote them back or demote one of them?
you think they draft Trick?
Yeah, I think Trick gets drafted.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he stays. I think Carmelo, but okay. I mean, I personally am one to capitalize on popularity. So I mean, if he's that over, that's what I would want to
Right.
do.
And
But
look how many gaps there are in the main rosters right now. There's tons of space for guys to just come up and get matches. I mean, where's Braun Breaker been right now? Like
waiting to get drafted, I guess.
Braun's been
Uh,
doing squash matches. Come on now.
I mean,
keep Trick away. He isn't ready. Ugh.
he isn't ready. He's not, but I mean,
Nothing wrong with that.
I could see them still just putting him in the draft to get his heat, and see how it goes. I mean, there's
Yeah.
plenty of people on the roster that aren't, Maxine Dupree's not ready. She gets a match every week. So
Oh man, dude, that
it's
was
true.
fucking savage. All
Trying to
right,
be me now? Just this ruthless person? Come on now.
Just the truth.
that's
Like you
messed up.
don't need to be ready to get some
All
heat,
right,
whatever.
all right. Well, with that being said, and we're
Not
having
ready for our viewing purposes. Got it.
yeah, whatever, man. I need to call Mello up and then have Trick show up before SummerSlam versus Survivor Series. I don't want their thing to continue, man. I mean, I kind of want we need a break, but we'll see what happens. All right, but with that being said, we're gonna go into our game, the return of Pushberry Fire. It has been too long. We're gonna do one round today. Angel, you will be presenting to Gonzo. Gonzo, you will be presenting to me, and then I will be presenting to Angel. So, Angel, you are up first. Give us your Pushberry Fire. Start us off hot, man.
All right, so we're just gonna stick with the belt theme that we have from this past week. Gonzo, you're gonna push Barry Fire the newest belts that have come out. So the World Heavyweight Championship that Seth has, the World Heavyweight Tag Team titles, and the WWE Tag Team titles. Go ahead and push Barry Fire those three.
Oh, goodness. Well, I think probably the most important one, I'm just going to go off looks on what I like. And I
All right,
like
that's
A
fine.
Town Down Unders. I'd like to push that one. It has more of that retro look to it. It just looks like a championship belt to me. And so for a very long time, I have been very critical of how the championship belts have been looking. And I'm going to push that one. I do like the way it looks. It has a lot of just callbacks to, again, what we like. The one that I would bury at the moment is going to be the other tag title. And then we're just going to eliminate the Seth Rollins belt. To me, I don't like the idea that there is two championships when it comes for the men to essentially go over and fight after. I've never supported that. I haven't liked it even when I was a kid. I mean, it was cool that you had the WCW title and then you had the WWF title and then they unified that at some point, but then there was one belt and only one belt. I understand.
Undisputed.
Yeah, I understand there's tons of people on the roster and you have to do something in order to give some purpose to it. That's just a preference, at least for me. I view it as Cody's belt is the only belt that matters. Now, for the tag championships, fine, so be it. We have that many tag teams. Again, I still don't like the idea of it, but I would rather them spend a little bit more time pushing the tag division than anything else. I don't really want to see anybody else other than Cody right now push the company and then be the one that presents the main title for the rest of people to see.
I
Interesting.
agree.
Okay. All right. All right, Gonzo, you're up next. What is
Now,
where?
I'll continue this with the belts since we keep talking about belts. And so, Mark, I just want you to push Barry Fire the manner in which a person should carry the title. Is it around their waist as it's being presented? Is it over a shoulder as it's being presented? Or the traditional old school way that we've seen with Cody having it folded up and walking around? Which are you choosing?
It's a good one. I like it.
I'm an old school guy, so I'm pushing the old school way of Cody holding it. I'm going to bury the shoulder carry. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to fire the shoulder carry. And I just like the way a title looks around your waist, especially when everyone's going and they're doing this, you know what I mean? That's the whole point. That's the gesture that everyone wants to do. It signifies that you're going to be a champion. So I will bury the waist carrying in that regard. That was pretty easy. I thought it was going to be a little more difficult, but that's what I would do. I do like the old school way. I mean, it gives a call back to everyone. I appreciate Cody doing that, giving call back to all the old school wrestlers that makes us want to watch wrestling, you know, that pretty much gave it to us. And that's pretty awesome. But definitely I could do away with the shoulder. I mean, unless you're like my 600-pound life, you know, I don't usually really have to do that shit. So, I don't care.
Rikishi.
Oh, God.
All right, but
This might be our last show,
Has
so it's been a
Gunther ever
pleasure,
put it on his
everybody.
waist?
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
does.
comes out with it on. Yeah,
On his waist? Okay, I can't remember. I was trying to
when he
think.
talks, when he's doing promos, he holds it.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Out, yeah. So
Okay, cool.
that's just what I like. All right, I'm gonna go away from these titles, and I want to go to people because that's what the push berry fire is. But I'm gonna give Angel an option here. He's either gonna get male or females. That's all he's gonna get. That's his option. So he could choose what he wants, male or females, and then he's gonna get it.
I have to choose.
And
Male
then
or
he's
female.
gonna get it. That sounds
That's all I
dirty.
get is male or female. That's my options.
No, male or female. Do you want a male wrestler push berry fire or female wrestler push berry fire?
That's what I'm saying. That's my only options.
Those are your only options. That's it. We're going back to old school. We're going to wrestlers.
Let's go female.
Oh, damn. Interesting. All right. So this group that I've constructed for this push berry fire are female wrestlers that have never won the female championship in WWE. So they may have won elsewhere, but I'm talking about in WWE specifically, they were never the female world champion. All right.
All right.
So we got Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler, and the ever popular Summer Rae. Never won the women's WWE championship.
Wow. I'm gonna push Tori Wilson because she actually tried to wrestle during her time in wrestling. It was a different era, though. You know, this was the not even diva. It was pre-diva era. It was mostly just how good did you look on screen, and could you be arm candy for some of the other superstars. They didn't really get to showcase themselves until towards the end of that era. Then they got to wrestle a little bit more. Once Lita and stuff came in there, and they got to do more physical stuff. But I'm gonna push Tori. Man, I'm probably gonna Summer Rae. I'm probably gonna bury Summer Rae and fire Stacy, even though Stacy was, like an iconic, like especially for a young guy, like you know what I mean. Like she was just that iconic person in WWE. Like didn't she date George Clooney? I'm pretty sure she dated George Clooney during that era.
I have no clue.
I'm pretty sure she did. She was pretty popular back then. She was like a big star, but WWE wise, like she wasn't really that impactful other than just looking good and her iconic entrance and so on and so forth.
She got put through tables from the Dudleys. That's an ultimate honor.
Okay.
So did Mae Young.
Exactly.
Ultimate honor.
Okay.
Not every day you're getting put through tables by legendary tag teams.
Yeah. Push Tori, bury Summer Rae, and I have to fire Stacy.
Damn.
Sorry.
That's cool. All right. So that's going to conclude our push berry fire, the return. That was fun with the championships. Once again, out of the box. I like it. So let's
title season.
It's title season. So let's continue with the show. Speaking of titles, let's talk about the Judgment Day and this freaking travesty that we saw. Rhea Ripley vacates her championship, the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. What did you guys think about that, man? Like, should that have been done? Should she have gotten the Roman Reigns treatment? Like, what's the deal?
Everyone's getting injured left and right here.
But is it legit?
If it's legit or not, it's another injury, right? Where a person's going away. Seth is gone. Roman, he's not hurt, but he's gone. Rhea's gone. I mean, you have Punk that's on the shelf temporarily. Even Aldis had a tricep repaired himself. I mean, everybody seems to be catching an injury bug at this moment in time.
Mhm.
And you know what? Rhea has been white hot for a very long time. And to lose that star power for however long that this may be, that's a problem for me overall as a viewer. Because again, she
Big
is
problem.
literally the face for what you're doing, not just for the women, but for your company as a whole. Will we see her make appearances like how Punk is? I don't know. Right. And so she gives her farewell speech. I'll be back for this, right? And now this makes me dislike Liv Morgan even more because ultimately, when I seen her crack her in the head with the chair, I said she's dead. She has a concussion. That's what I thought the injury was from. Like she broke her orbital bone or something like that. And
Exactly. Work.
it's whether it's a work or not. It's one of those things where I don't want to see her off television. Now, has she been on television basically every single week? Yes. Does she need some time away? This is probably how they gave it to her. I don't know. I, in order for her to go away, I really would have loved to see her just lose the title then, if that's the case, right? And I mean, I'm all over the place, but the fact that they're making me so emotional about it, they're doing their part with the storytelling, and they get us now talking about it. So that's just my point of view on it.
Angel, I know you had some thoughts on this during the week. Why don't you share those with our viewers here?
Man, I got a lot of thoughts on this. I'll try to make it brief because I talk a lot sometimes. But when it comes to Rhea, like Gonzo said, to me, with Roman leaving, she's to me the number 2 star in the whole company. With Roman leaving at that point where the roster was, with Punk out, McIntyre getting the screw job, so on and so forth. I love Damian, but I'm sorry, he's not Rhea, in my opinion, not right now.
Not
So
even close.
to lose Roman right now, and now we lose Rhea. I'm viewing this now as like the off season for WWE. Like WrestleMania comes and then it goes and that's it. People, this is vacation season for WWE superstars. If she's hurt, so be it. This is the time to rehab your injuries or take your time off. She was supposedly getting married. If she is, if she isn't, I don't know what's going on, but it just seems like it's time for WWE stars to venture off and do their own thing, take time off. You see Romans there, like filming TV shows and
Is it live
whatever they're doing.
time, baby?
Baby.
Yeah, and as far as her relinquishing it, it's kind of that's such a buzzkill. I mean, at that point, you might as well just had her lose to Becky. Why did she beat Becky?
That's
I
what I'm
mean, if
saying. I mean,
this was
do
the
you
plan, you should have had her lose, and I would have been upset. But that's better than this. This is, I mean, they better have a great plan for her to come back, and whenever that is, it better be good.
That's what
And
I'm
the
saying though.
whole
Like,
live,
do you guys think that she should have gotten a Roman Reigns treatment? Like, if she's getting married, which is the big rumor right now, she's getting married to Buddy Matthews from AEW, and she needed time off. Do you think she's earned the freaking Roman Reigns treatment of like a
it's
month or two
all
off?
for me. It's all going to depend on how long she's gone. If she's
Mm-hmm.
gone a month or two,
Mm-hmm.
to me, this is stupid, and they should have just gave her the Seth Rollins Roman treatment and just let her keep the title,
Mm-hmm.
and they just play the stories off so that whatever you figure it out and let her rest. But she shows up, still does promos, still has a little act, or she gets attacked or whatever you want.
Do the Logan Paul treatment.
Right, but you don't have her disappear. Now, if it's like she's not back till Royal Rumble or something crazy, then then they got a legit thing going on. So whatever. It depends how long she's gone.
Yeah.
Me.
I mean, I agree with that. It depends how long she's gone, but I mean, judging by what everyone's saying, and obviously this is people, the internet wrestling community, the IWC is what everyone likes to call it. It seems to me it's only a couple months. So I mean, if that's true, because she wanted a couple months to get married, I mean, congratulations on getting married. But WWE should have been like, hey, you're keeping this title. Send me a video promo when you're not busy and call it a day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because Logan Paul out here dropping promos in Puerto Rico in the shower and shit. So there's no reason she can't cut me a promo on the beach.
That's the biggest thing, right? Like, she's putting in the work. She shows up every week. She shows up on both shows. She shows up for Judgment Day. She wrestles at every pay-per-view. She is involved with tag team matches with the Judgment Day. Like, she could do a couple months where she's not doing all of that or barely having to show up. I don't think anybody would be mad at that. It's not like Roman that did this for an extended amount of time. She's only going to do it for a little while, but whatever. I'm complaining about something we don't even know about yet, so we'll see.
You're right. You're right. I mean, it all came to all of us, man. We're all kind of pissed off. So I mean, don't get too
Right.
much. But right now, who takes the title, man? So seemingly, I mean, the next champion should be crowned at Backlash, right? I mean, that's what we're all
We're gonna get
kind
another
of
some
thinking.
type of
Yeah, but
Tournament,
elimination
you
match
know.
every
isn't
single
Becky
week
gone
now.
too? Isn't Becky gone too right now?
Well, I
So
mean, we got Liv, you know, Derek the guy's girl, and your girl, Liv. Or
everybody's
we got
going.
Nia
They'll
Jax, who
probably give it to Nia.
could get it. I mean, those are off the top of my head. That's why I put it in our notes tonight. Not of the people that could take it right away. You know what I mean? Nia
Yeah,
it's
no, I
up
understand.
because whenever Rhea comes back, that you could rekindle that feud. And obviously, if Liv takes it, you could rekindle that feud because she took her out of action. So I mean, both of those make the most sense. As far as when she comes back, I mean, at this point, I feel like she needs to just come back like a Brock Lesnar, and whoever's holding the title, she gets it back in 5 seconds and call it a day. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. If it goes to Nia, I am switching to an AEW guy. Not after tonight on the Twitters, buddy. Um, and you're talking to the biggest AEW guy. But yeah, so we'll see what
Hey,
happens with that. So more on the Judgment Day. So clearly, we're all in agreement that Rhea Ripley is the clear cut leader. I mean, is she not? So I mean, she's the clear cut leader. So are we looking that the Judgment Day is finally going to implode without them? I mean, we've seen Finn Balor kind of taking little jabs here at Damian Priest. You know, hey, saying that they should be focused on getting the tag titles, but instead he's fighting Jey Uso for Damian, and then he loses clean. So I mean, that dynamic. I mean, now with Rhea Ripley not holding it together, draft time. Are we splitting them up? Are they imploding on their own? Like, what are we doing here?
is it just me or Jay Uso matches flat and boring outside of his chant that hype people up? Is that just a David problem?
I
I
think that's a
feel
you problem.
I don't know. I feel like his stuff is kind of flat at times.
In ring,
Yeah, in ring stuff.
Naomi's better than him. Yeah.
Oh shit! So you'd rather get the rear view? Like,
I'm just saying,
you
her
kidding me?
movesets are better.
Oh
She plays
man,
off the
what is
rope
going
better.
on tonight? Oh,
She goes, yeah,
man.
she's yeah. Jey
So back on
Uso's
track
in
since
ring.
I'm talking
No,
smack right now, right?
no, we're
Is
still on track. We're talking about Jey Uso. It's
Yeah.
not getting off track. We could talk about it.
Jay's hot, don't get me wrong. I don't know.
Personally,
I'm just
I love his
underwhelmed by
entrance.
his
It's
in-ring
so
stuff.
so personally, I feel like I'm an old school guy when I watch wrestling matches. All right. Number one, I don't acknowledge botches because I can't do what these guys are doing. Number two,
that's
when
fine.
you're wrestling, I'm not saying you guys said botches. I'm just giving you my viewpoint. When
Yeah.
you're wrestling, you're supposed to tell a story. You're supposed to hype the crowd up, which Jay does, obviously with the entrance, and you're supposed to be
Agreed.
crowd interaction in certain matches. I think Jay does a great job telling a story throughout his matches. So I don't know if we're watching the same matches.
I don't know what that. Like I said, I think that's a me problem because, like I said, he's white hot when he comes out. I love it. After he's white hot, there's just like certain things with the storytelling for some strange reason. I think it's the Uso splash and the fact that he uses Shocker the spear like everybody else in the world right now, and that's probably where I have my issues.
Everyone in the bloodline uses it, bro. Even Solo did it in
No,
NXT.
no, it's everyone uses the spear now. It
Like,
bothers me.
I mean, he doesn't finish people with that often. I mean, that's
That
just
should
a
be an
new thing.
off-limit move that only Roman Reigns should be allowed to do. End
Come
of
on,
story.
dude.
Gonzo's
You
hitting
can't
on
do
the
that.
head though, Mark.
You can't do that.
He is a super kick, splash, spear,
Guy.
rock punch.
It's
Like,
everyone.
It's
That's
so
my point.
generic watching, right? It's
But
almost
anyway.
like
That's Seth
It's-
Rollins. That's Shinsuke Nakamura.
no,
Like,
Shinsuke does way more. No shot.
Yeah,
Like-
Shinsuke does weird looking
Shinsuke
stuff.
does submissions.
nah, we love
Does
Jey
Jey do
Uso. He
submission?
isn't Brian Danielson, but
Does
he's
J-
fun to watch and keep me hyped.
I'm not trying to make him Brian Danielson here.
Me either. I actually really enjoy when Jey Uso's out there. I think his promos he need to be more than just yeet. Like, it was cool when him and Cody were doing the "I'll yeet you later" or whatever. Like,
Mhm.
that was funny, but like, I just want him to do a little bit more. He wants to be main event Jey Uso, right? I think there's more there. He has a lot of potential. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Okay.
I see him being a front running star. He just has to make that next step. he's plateauing a little bit. I think that's what me and Gonzo are trying to say.
Instead of 5 moves, I want 7 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm asking
All right.
for 2 more.
No problem. So back to our Judgment Day segment. Where was I? Finn Balor loses to Jey Uso clean before David just criticizes nonsense.
It's not nonsense. Fine.
The rest of Judgment Day attacks Jey post match, but what we seen there was
Jey fights him off.
Damian Priest conflicted on this attack portion. Kind of takes a step back. So what are we seeing there? Is Damian Priest no longer one for the blood or the Judgment Day? Is he no longer want to be a heel? Does he want to do the Seth route and fight honorably? Like, what's going on with this already?
Yeah, no, we're seeing the honorable. I've been listening to a lot of Damian Priest off WWE television with him going around and being able to just talk a little bit more to different podcasts and different individuals. And he very much so holds what Seth Rollins did in very high regards. And this is awesome to see for character development, right? Because we've talked about it before. You get placed into a faction, and at some point, we have to move away from the faction, right? It has to go away to build stars. And so I'll say that they'll get drafted to a certain show, but we're getting more and more, together. Because again, that's going to be great for storytelling because we're already seeing more and more of the seeds of them starting to go different directions. And it's a matter of when it's going to happen now. And I'm all for that. Like that level of storytelling has been there for, oh God, what, a year now as to when they're going to go their own way. Without giving too much into it, I think that's the short version for my portion of what I'd like to see.
Okay. All right. Well, Angel, unless you have anything to add.
Yeah, I'm pretty with Gonzo. I think they're all going to get drafted together. I don't know. Yeah, it seems like Damian does want to do a face turn personally in his own regard. That's kind of the vibes you get when he talks or when you see him like post WrestleMania. Like it doesn't seem like he's all in on the whole, heel guy or
gold changes people. That's fine. Right. Gold changes people.
And he's separating, and I think there's a good story there with Finn. I want to see Finn in the main event, and I kind of hope they break up because I like Finn. I like Damian. I think there could be a great story there. Attacking Jey. That's part of the, that's the generic story, but I think there's going to be more there. So.
Okay, I think there's going to be more there too. Just to David's point though, this was off camera. So we were talking about this. David and I actually went to AEW Collision yesterday. For you guys to know, that's why I keep saying Gonzo and I were together. So we were talking about a lot of wrestling stuff. So one thing David pointed out was that there was the switch of heel and face champions. So now we have a face champion on Friday Night SmackDown with Cody most likely being the number 1 overall pick on Friday, and Damian Priest technically the heel champion. So how does that work if Damian turns face? Do you guys like double face champions if that's the route that we're going to get? Does it matter to you guys?
To me, it doesn't really matter as long as the stories go. It's kind of like that idea that Cody has said. He was the hunter, now he's the hunted.
Right.
It's all dependent on like how you play off being the hunted. And face or heel, that doesn't really come into play, in my opinion. I think Roman was the ultimate hunted champion. And when you have the belt, you need to know how to become that hunted champion. And so it's hard to do. Not everyone can do it. It's easy to be the guy gunning and fighting and climbing the mountain to the top. Once you're at the top, though, it's hard.
Agreed. So Derek the Guy says Finn is a million times more better than Damian. I don't know, man. And he also says Rhea leaving makes the draft more sense. Since it'd be hard to have an entire group with 2 world titles in a single draft pick. Interesting. That's actually a pretty good point. Solid point, actually. Because if you do take the Judgment Day as a whole, that's 2 world champions.
Oh well, I mean they as they always say, they run the WWE, right? So.
All right. Well, moving on to another faction, Damage Control. So we're gonna kind of link this in. So Damage Control on SmackDown comes in right before the WWE Women's Championship match between Naomi and Bailey. They cut a promo, and by they, I mean Dakota Kai. She's the only one that speaks. So she cuts a promo saying that they're still dominant. The Kabuki Warriors are still tag champs and are interrupted by Cargill and Belair together as they're talking about the women's tag team championships. So, do we now see a clearer vision for Cargill? Is it going to be Cargill and Belair going for these tag titles?
Go ahead, Guns.
The X-Men? Yeah, we're going to see the X-Men take those titles.
The X-Men. Jesus Christ, dude.
What?
What's going on today? No, I mean, I agree with you. Jay Cargill Storm, I mean, she has the look, but do you guys want to see this tag team form and a pretty much a non-existent female tag team division?
Who's going to beat them? Now that they've formed together, it's an unstoppable force. You have literally the look, the athleticism. So
they can't lose.
If and when they go against the Kabuki Warriors for those titles, that match should last at least 5 minutes. There's no reason as to why that needs to go longer than that. Because I personally,
Cargill's regular matches time right now.
I personally like the dominance, right, of what she presents. Same with Bianca Belair. Like, I like to know the psychology that those two women at any point could just immediately end a match because they're that much more gifted than potentially the person across from them, right, from a storytelling perspective. Put the straps on them. Great. You get to have more presence with Cargill. And at some point, that tag team is going to erode. And then you're going to have this mega payoff between Cargill and Bianca to go face to face. We got a teaser of that at the Royal Rumble where the two were literally military pressing two people and then they dropped them and the crowd was hot for that. I would like for them to at some point work towards that. So in the meantime, you pair them together, fine, things are great. So, and it's bad, right? The Kabuki Warriors have had these titles for so long, and now I don't even care. I want them to lose because I want the titles to go on Cargill and Bianca Belair. I'm excited about that. I'd like to see how they make that a reality then.
Angel, do you have anything you want to add before I go?
The women's tag titles are non-existent. That division is just non-existent.
He was gonna go there. That's
what do you mean? Like,
I mean, the same thing. I was just gonna say the same thing, bro. Like, it's just
the division's pointless. It doesn't exist.
Take it away. Take it away. Give me a women's mid-card championship and call it a day. Just like NXT doing the North American Championship. Let's just do it that way.
I mean, I really enjoy women's division wrestling, AEW, WWE. Like, those are some of my favorite stars. But I don't know what it is about the tag team division with these belts. I'm not interested.
They don't care.
I don't care about the Kabuki Warriors.
You're not interested, Angel. It's because the WWE's not interested in the titles. They don't care.
Dude, it's wild, dude. So, like, okay, besides the Kabuki Warriors and Jade and Bianca, can you name me some of the other tag teams that are just in the running, fighting for these titles?
Yeah,
Chelsea Green.
Yeah, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven.
I don't know what their name is.
Yay! You're so excited.
Then you have the NXT champions.
They don't have a name, and then the team that they lost to, or they beat
the Party Girls. What are they called?
I forget their names because they're not on TV unless they're in a tag title match. So I forget.
The Keg Stand Girls.
You know what I mean. So,
I mean, I don't know, man. They need to do more with that division because if you really want these, why do you think the titles?
Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Thank you.
There you go. Kaden Carter.
Do they have a name? Do they have a fancy name, or is it just that?
None of them have a name. None of them have
a move. The Keg Stand. That's it. That's their name.
The Keg Stand.
That is the name. That is the name.
And then you got and Indy and what's her name?
The Way.
Yeah.
Well, their name is The Way. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae.
Yeah, Candice LeRae. So that division to me is it's non-existent. I'll end it with this. The story is Naomi got her title shot because these three were kind of put together as a little faction for a few minutes here.
Yeah, the X-Men.
Naomi's got the title shot. That's done with. These two are gonna win the titles, have a little baby run. Eventually, maybe even lose them, or while they're still have them, one of them is going to, or both of them are going to be given a shot at Bailey. The other one's going to want that shot. They will turn on each other and they will be fighting for number one contender to face Bailey. That's what's going to happen.
So I agree with Gonzo that if and when they get a tag team title shot, that they need to dominate that match. Number one, number two, they need to never lose. So one thing that kind of reminds me of this is Roxanne Perez. You guys know how amazing Roxanne Perez is.
Roxy.
So she won the tag team championships. And I can't. Maybe Derek, if he watches NXT, can remind me on who she won the tag titles with. But she won the tag team title with that person. And that person immediately turned on Roxy after they won. Like literally, they won in seconds, and they did not even carry the belt to the next day. So that's not something that I would want.
Jade.
Cargill and Belair to.
Bianca.
But I think maybe having a run for a little bit and then just never losing. Maybe one of them get tired of tagging and be like, yo, I'm done with this shit. Like I want to be
Rhea Ripley and then just walk away.
And just walk away, and then the titles are vacated because, like David said, who the fuck is going to beat this tag team?
Well, they're going to turn on each other. That's how they lose the title.
Right, but again, aside from that's the obvious. But like from a storytelling perspective, like who?
Nobody
is the question. So, and that might be a good transition for maybe WWE to hear us right now.
Nia and Becky tag teaming might beat them. That's about it.
There you go, Cora Jade. So Cora Jade turned heel on Roxanne Perez literally seconds after they won the championship. So they didn't even get to carry it out and celebrate. So, but something like that I think would be cool, or maybe just down the road where they're just like tired of it and be like, hey, I need to go for this championship. You're getting in my way for my growth, whatever. But anyway, so the point is all these teams were looking on to the women's championship match. We had Naomi versus Bailey, which I thought it was a fantastic match.
I loved it.
But y'all be hating on my girl Bailey. So I thought it was a fantastic match.
I'm appreciating Bailey a little bit more now.
Yeah.
What are you including me in that for? I love Bailey.
Because you're a Bailey hater too. That's why.
I'm not a hater. Naomi was great in that match, by the way.
You're delusional right now.
Bailey is a demon. What? I thought the match was great. I don't really want to talk too much on the match. I actually want to talk about what happened after the match. Or I'm sorry, how the match ended, not after the match. Tiffy Time getting booked to oh my God, her booking has been fantastic. She interferes, attacks both Naomi and Bailey, hits the prettiest moonsault on them both, and is 1,000% getting better booking than Jade Cargill and Braun Breaker. What do you guys think about that match and Tiffy Time's booking in general? Big Bayliever here. That's my guy. That's why you're my guy. But Tiffy Time's booking, man. I mean, she wasn't in this match, but yet we just made it all about her. So, what do you guys think about it, Gonzo? You love Tiffy Time. Go on.
Big stars get big pushes, and this is what we're seeing right before our eyes. And so, there has to be something behind the scenes. She can talk on the mic, she can perform in the ring. Where if we look at Cargill, she's still kind of green, right? So they're limiting her. They're putting her in a safe route to protect her. And then you got Braun over here with sometimes his tan doesn't align and he's going off the ropes, almost decapitating himself. And he's using, again, the basic punch to finish matches. Oh, I'm sorry, the spear to finish matches. And so, I mean, as far as something with him, they're nitpicking something with Braun, right? Hence the reason why they're doing his booking tremendously different. With, I guess, a female version of Kurt Angle, right? She can talk, she can entertain, she could be funny. She has clearly the in-ring prowess to do whatever she wants to. She, right now, is
American gymnast.
Looking fantastic. Absolutely. She's an Olympian, right? Yeah, American Olympiast or whatever the case is. So I'm all for it. I was pushing for this during Elimination Chamber when I felt she was robbed then, even though she put on a tremendous showing. And so let's go. I am behind this hype train 100%. It's time.
I think for her being in the title picture so quickly just speaks wonders for her. And honestly, it's like if she doesn't get the title.
Doesn't need the title. It's just the fact that she's there, right?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Tiffy time, Angel?
This is why they need to get rid of the tag team titles. There's no point of having all these stars like her. You know, if she doesn't, after this main title run or push she's getting, let's say she doesn't beat Bailey, then what? Is she gonna be in the tag team title like picture? Like I
I
don't
mean, that
see
is
it.
the WWE way.
The draft is coming, so we'll see where she gets thrown. Obviously, she's gonna go wherever Bailey's going because this story's already going that way. So I see them getting drafted in the same show. But I love Tiffy. I think we all do. Is there anybody that doesn't like Tiffy? I mean,
Derek
she's
the guy.
Yeah, Derek the guy
she's
does.
mm,
He's a
she's the
hater.
goat right now as far as just unbelievable fire. And I mean, like Gonzo said, Elimination Chamber, she outshined everybody. And every time she comes out, you're glued to the screen. You're excited. Like you're ready to watch the entirety of her segments of her matches. She makes it, just better. It's a better show when she's there. Like, were you super excited about that whole controversial match and them being in the stands? It was cool, it was fun, but when she came out, that's when you're like, oh snap! Like now I care about this. She was only out there for 2 minutes to end the show, so and you saw the crowd pop. She's loved.
Dude,
So I
she's
don't know.
awesome. She's
Yeah.
awesome. I think we can all agree on that one. All right. So moving on to our final segment of the night. The bloodline just continues to dominate our shows, SmackDown, the whole nine. But if you guys remember a few weeks back for our devoted viewers, Angel gave me a push Barry Fire where he wanted me to push Barry Fire the bloodline. And I said I was pushing Solo, and he laughed in my face. And what does that guy do? He doesn't speak. Well,
He lost again.
right here, that guy right there.
He
Acknowledge
lost
him.
again.
What happens
What's his
right?
record now for the
Acknowledge
speaking?
him. Acknowledge him.
Losing has consequences,
Acknowledge
Mark.
him. Yeah, clearly, because you get promoted to the interim tribal chief. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Take a look.
Oh,
Take a look.
my god.
Take a look.
Yeah, you 0 and
Clearly,
40 and you get promotions. I wish my job was like that.
hey, he's the interim. I'm just saying, man. He's speaking more. Solo's more talkative. It's clearly a spike in his character development because I told you it was there. He's clearly better than Jim Uso. He's wearing nicer threads according to Paul Heyman, and he's seemingly the interim leader. So, what do you guys think about what's going on right now? So, spiking the shit out of Kevin Owens, by the way, that was a spike. But what do you guys think about what's going on? Yeah. So, what's going on with this bloodline?
It is getting revamped again, and it keeps my interest again, and it continues to tell stories. And here we go. We're going to have so much more intrigue. I already have the intrigue. Solo sounds like a star just simply talking outside of grunts and then all of a sudden the death spike comes in, right?
That's why 0 and 40 is irrelevant.
I love it, to be truthful with you, right? And so the fact
He needs
that
to go like this instead of the point.
it's the tape thumb. Tape thumb. Can't go like here, right? So as far as Solo, he has been tremendous now 2 weeks in a row. His ability to talk on the mic, I don't care what you do in wrestling, you got to be able to talk on the mic in order to entertain me. I'm only going to talk about myself. Anybody that can talk and that can immediately just go bar for bar and put on a wonderful exhibition of storytelling from that perspective. All right, great. Solo is starting to do that. Clearly, he can go in the ring. That's not to ever be questioned outside of Angel's point that he continues to lose nonstop left and right. You know what? It's getting to the point where he's giving orders that he's just taking people out now left and right. Paul Heyman had alluded to that, where you can't do this. It's not your time yet. And you know what? Well, now we see a bloody Kevin Owens that honestly, a lot of blood on SmackDown, right? So we're continuing to transition out of this whole PG era. That's something that we see more on an AEW showing or TNA, right? As far as the violence goes, we've seen a car crash. We've seen, oh, absolutely. Even at the midway point, you had 2 car crashes that all this pointed out to the wise man. He's like, your boys are doing this, gain control here. So it's fresh again because it's still leaving us with the question of why are you doing this, Solo? Is this coming from Roman? We don't know who the current head of the table is. Is it The Rock? Is it Solo? And we're getting pieces of that. So I am
It's from
definitely
orders of the tribal chief.
of whoever that may be is. I don't know. Killmonger, possibly. I mean, that's kind of how I view. That's how I view our current guy at the moment. It's great. It's fantastic. We're gonna get more and continued stories out of this.
Angel, keep hate. Let's hear your hate on the 0-40 interim tribal chief.
No hate here. To me, what's happening here is Solo had to eat shit for a long time because he was just a henchman, and he had to take the L's that Roman couldn't fight in. Roman was supposed to be on all those matches week to week, and instead Solo got thrown in there and had to lose, and get his ass kicked. But he had to help Roman win the title, so he ate his shit, and now he's done eating the shit. Now he's the tribal chief in his head. He's claiming the throne. Doesn't care. Roman's out shooting videos and movies.
So is he claiming the throne, or is this orders from someone else?
No, this is strictly just Solo. Nobody else. He kicked out Jimmy. Jimmy's been gone now over a week now, right?
He killed Jimmy. He didn't kick him out. He killed Jimmy.
So no, The Rock's not involved. I'm sorry to burst you guys' bubbles. I know you guys are hoping for Rocky to be involved with all that. He's not. He's worried about the XFL or the USFL, UFL sucking, and he's worried about other stuff right now. So Rocky's not coming back.
Dude, this guy's savage today, man. Like he's just like,
So Rocky's gone. Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to wait a while for Rocky to come back. And Roman is shooting TV shows, like I said. So Solo's completely solo on this and doing whatever he wants. Jimmy's gone. He's been replaced, Fatu, and you're gonna have a while of Solo being the interim, whatever you want to call him, tribal chief. So the wise man's just gonna hold order as much as he can until Roman comes back, whenever the hell that is. And then once Roman's back, we're gonna have an interesting story because he's gonna have to fight for his head of the table. Jimmy and Jay, we'll see what they're involved with this, but that's the story.
So speaking of Roman, number one, Solo getting Dominic Mysterio type boos as far as loudness when he's talking, and one of those chants and boos were "We want Roman."
Mm-hmm. Roman's a face almost there.
we want Roman. They wanted Roman gone so much that now he's gone and we want him back. I thought that was interesting. So Solo's using Tonga as his MFT.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone please tell me what the fuck that is?
I'm not hip to current slang.
Let's see. I'll look it up.
I looked
Urban Dictionary it.
I've looked it up. One of them says "My Family Tree." So I have no idea what that is.
Okay. So it sounds like it's another one of those titles that head of the table, chief, this and that, or whatever The Rock was, the big chief, whatever the hell he wanted to be called. But just sounds like one of those titles. Yeah, just another position in their rankings.
So My Family Tree, another one. I mean, I think we're definitely gonna get one more added to them.
Jacob Fatu.
So we'll see when Jacob shows up. Jacob, for those of you guys don't know, is an absolute beast. So maybe Solo's going into the interim tribal chief role, and then Fatu will go into the solo role, but then his MFT's doing it. So
you're gonna get Bloodline Civil War.
So we shall see. But definitely, like I said, it's fresh. It's the hottest, arguably the best faction of all time, dude. I mean, we keep saying, we grew up in the DX era, the NWO era, and then Evolution came and started to, change us on that regard. But the plan as a whole, I mean, I don't know. It's getting up there, if not already up there, in my opinion.
We have infinite members because NWO was fake. It was just whoever they felt like throwing in there. This is actual people in their real life. So
yeah, that's crazy. Since we're talking about the draft constantly, when it comes to the bloodline, any predictions when it comes to anyone formerly in the bloodline? What happens with their draft status? Does Jimmy get reunited with his brother on Raw? What do you guys think when it comes to draft?
Guns.
Probably you're going to see them go to Raw. You're going to create some distance, and I think that's going to be on purpose because you're going to keep them away from Cody for a certain amount of time, and that's going to be reintroduced at another point. So, because we already got the teaser of them creating so much chaos on SmackDown that all this is not going to stand for that. That was already teased. So, as far as that, I won't look too much into it, but I could see the Bloodline possibly going to Raw. I think Jay, you're going to see them at some point reemerge, Avengers style, right?
Oh, wait a minute. You're saying the Bloodline's going to Raw?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Bold. Interesting. Okay. Cool. All right. So real quick, we're gonna go to our hot tag segment. These are really quick. So AJ Styles is now the number one contender for the WWE for the undisputed WWE Championship. We already know he's not beating Cody, but he won dirty over LA Knight. So as that feud continue, does LA Knight get some payback in Paris? All right. You agree too?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Chad Cable turns heel. Thoughts?
Cool.
Long overdue.
Agreed. David, this is for you. Tatum Paxley turns heel on Lyra Valkyria.
Amazing. Her promo she cut on NXT was fantastic.
Derek, the guy says Gable season.
Perk Gable season.
Okay.
Percocets.
All right.
Percocets.
So, all right. Percocets with Tony. Fun fact: my wife was watching that last night. Ivar, number one contender for the North American Championship. Does he have a chance against Obafemi after he destroyed Briggs's face?
Yeah, I mean, if he's doing moonsaults where he's going to decapitate people, then yeah, absolutely.
Dude, that moonsault was unbelievable.
400 pounds come crashing down on your face and neck.
Dude, and your neck just getting slammed. Yeah.
For those of you that did not, I should have got that picture, dude. For those of you that did not see NXT last week, this guy destroyed poor Josh's Briggs. And Briggs is a big fucking dude. You had a big target to land, and you land on the smallest part of his body at the top of his head. That is ridiculous. And lastly, it is WWE Draft Week starting on Friday. This is probably the most excited I've ever been for a WWE draft because these guys know I hate that shit. But we'll leave it with this. Bold prediction for a WWE draft. Anybody? Gonzo, bold prediction for WWE draft.
No, we'll let Angel go first. Bold predictions.
Bold prediction. Just one. Just give me one.
Oh, just one.
Okay, fine. Give me. I just didn't want to take too much time. But go ahead. Bold predictions.
I'll make them quick. I think the belt switch. I think Cody's gonna make the belt go back to Raw. I think Damian and the Judgment Day are going to SmackDown. Bold prediction though.
So you're saying that Cody
don't interrupt him. Let him finish.
Is not the number one overall pick?
Let him finish.
SmackDown has the first pick.
Let him cook.
Oh, do they? I didn't know. That.
That's why they're starting on SmackDown.
Oh, they have the first pick. Oh,
so you're saying that you take the Judgment Day over Cody? You're out of your mind. I'm sorry. I know this was bold predictions, and I'm not trying to shit on it, but you're out of your mind.
Real quick,
all right.
If you get Rhea and Damian, oh no, but Rhea's doesn't have the belt.
You don't know when she's coming back.
See, this is why her leaving sucks, dude. I get okay. Well, then the only bold prediction I have is that Raw's gonna be. I'm thinking Raw might be over. Like, can we see Raw have more belts than SmackDown? Is that something that's possible? Where it's uneven?
I don't think so because they generally try to split the IC and the
evenly.
US. You know, and since they both have their own tag division, then they both have their own mid card division, then they both have their own world championship division. So I can't see them getting both. I mean, that'd be kind of weird. Maybe if they add a female mid card, then I could see that, but I don't.
All right. Well, then I don't really have anything that exciting. Then go ahead, Gonzo.
Sorry to burst your bubble, my guy.
Lost all of his steam. Oh my god. Well,
bold prediction for your draft. I think you already gave us one with the Bloodline going to Raw.
Yeah. The Bloodline. I said Bloodline going to Raw. I think would be pretty interesting, just to create some distance from Cody, and that way you can help increase some viewership on the Red brand. And then this one, I'm just going to say it to trigger people, is you're going to see a specific scarf come walking across that
All right,
stage.
dude. Like, don't fucking say my shit. That was
MGF?
exactly my bold prediction. This fucking
MGF.
guy, bro.
Yes,
MJF. I said
MJF. That is
I
right.
said
That is
This
J.
my
guy's
bold
such a
statement of the night.
douchebag, bro. He stole my bold prediction because I told him that earlier when I left his house.
That's not what you told me you were going to
That's
say.
exactly what I said.
You literally said he needs to stay in AEW. We need this.
I'm muting him. All right. So my bold prediction was a draft pick being a signing. I'm not saying it's MJF, but I think it's someone big from outside of a company, and I think it's a big name. They'll be drafted as kind of them being signed to WWE.
Hmm.
I don't
See,
think it's
but
MJF, but I think that's how they'll do it.
do you have any other takes you're wanting to make?
No, that was just my big take
Okay.
because
I
David
just want
wants
to say
to
really
steal
quick.
people's thunder.
This is
Go
why
on.
the draft sucks, though.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you just said, okay, SmackDown has the first overall pick. Okay. So that means all the belts are going to be split exactly where they are right now, right? Like,
That's
it's
why
already
it seems
predetermined.
pretty much.
So, like, we were literally talking about cool stuff happening at the draft. The coolest stuff that can happen at the draft is literally mid-card people changing shows
Correct.
or less.
I mean, technically, Cody would be changing shows because technically, Cody is a Raw superstar.
Yeah, but the belt's a SmackDown belt.
Him being drafted, I agree. I 100% agree. Yeah, SmackDown
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Kabuki Warriors, where they go, is where Jade is gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see they already have these storylines built up. And they're not ending before this draft. They should have completed a lot of these storylines before this draft, so that this draft could be literally anything goes. But it's not gonna happen, and this is why the draft sucks. They need to plan it out better, in my opinion, or put it in a different time of the year where they can end stories all at the same time and make this draft extremely open, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, that's why David and I were talking about this, today, even yesterday, where the titles, if you want to do a brand split, fine. I mean, you have a big enough roster to do it. I understand the logic of it. I still don't like it, but I understand the logic of it. But having all these split championships just doesn't make sense to me. I think building one division with all these and having, like Dave said earlier, having the champions being the only ones that can go from show to show, that would be cool. And then you still draft your rosters. Another thing that would be cool, like we discussed it last week, get a guy from Fox there and get a guy from freaking USA there, and give them a WWE representative for each, and let them fucking draft with the rosters and do a legit fantasy draft and see what happens. Like, but we live in fantasy land. Our fantasy booking is just never gonna happen. But like I said, I am really excited for this draft in particular. I've never really been excited for it before, so we'll see what happens. With that being said, do you guys have any other final thoughts before we close out?
Gonzo?
I'll be wearing my Caleb Williams jersey, so it's going to be a beautiful thing.
The NFL draft.
Oh my god, yeah, it's draft season, bro. Holy smokes.
Chicago Bears Thursday. We'll have a new
Chicago Bears select with
Gonzo,
the one.
You better have your pink fingernails ready to go, buddy.
Nope. Chicago Bears are going to be drafting at 1.1, and they're going to select North Carolina quarterback Drake May with the first overall pick. And the city you'll just see a bomb go off, and then
I'll start watching the USFL.
We'll be watching Rocky.
I'll be watching the shows. All right, guys. Once again, that concludes episode 13 of the Smacktalk Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate you guys watching. I know the AEW pay-per-view is still going on because we watched really late with that. But we appreciate you guys. And once again, next week, Saturday, 9:30 Central Standard Time, unless otherwise directed on our social media. So make sure you guys go follow us. Angel, where can everyone find you, my guy?
You can find me on Twitch, _OK Gaming, gaming, PlayStation 5, playing games like Rainbow Six Siege, MLB The Show, FIFA, sports game shooters, whatever's going on during this season, but mostly on there or TikTok or on YouTube with these guys. So
Gonzo, where can we find you, my guy?
Most consistently, you're going to find me on TikTok. You're going to find me on Instagram, and then also on YouTube. That's going to be the Raising _personalities. And so as far as pro wrestling content. That's where a lot of my content will be reviewing and reposting, possibly some live events that the three of us potentially can get to, and then also just discussion on some things that are non-wrestling related.
You got to retweet the speed matches, bro.
Yeah,
right.
I do retweet the speed matches, so you can go. You'll find that on me. You can find me on all social media, pro_wrestling_kingpin, the pro wrestling kingpin. Feel free to reach out during any type of matches, especially on X. We'll talk about it. But if not, like I said, you can find our podcast here live stream on Saturdays, or you can listen on Spotify. Until then, acknowledge Solo, your new interim tribal chief, whether Angel likes it or not.
Get your
I
thumb
said I
tape.
liked it.
And
Get
said
your
I
thumb
liked it.
tape.
but we appreciate you guys, and we're out of here.